So as we talk more about growth partners, okay, your growth partners should have years of mistakes under their belts. Like years of mistakes. And again, this goes back to the perfectionist piece. Like they should have so many mistakes under their belts that they're able to teach you how they combated those mistakes, right? Your growth partner should be able to teach you how to avoid the mistakes that they made. That right there in and of itself, that literally is books, that's podcasts, that's masterminds, that's TV shows, that's documentaries, like all these things. Like I don't understand why as a human race, we literally like hate failure and mistakes and we shun it, but not one person got where they are without any of them. And so even if you were to say, I'm going to study all the mistakes that whoever you decide to made, and that is what I'm going to use as my own mastermind. I don't want to pay thousands of dollars for somebody else. Like I'm going to do that. Do it. I think that'd be dope. Hell, I might do it myself, right? If you just study the mistakes and how somebody countered those mistakes, that right there is the lesson. But you want to do it in the area that you're trying to grow in, right? Is find a mentor who has made years of mistakes, in different mistakes. If they're making the same mistake over and over, that's a different story. That ain't the mentor you want, right? But that's also the lesson. Figure out what the heck was keeping them from being able, it might have been their ego, it might have been their pride, and that right there is also a lesson. Address your ego, address your pride, and then you'll be able to make new mistakes. So that's a growth tip for you, right? Make new mistakes. Don't make this a mentor tip. Make new mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes over and over and over. You make the same mistake 3 times. Now it's like, come on, bruh. But like make new mistakes. And this is where mentors come into play, because you can call your mentor up and say, man, I keep making the same mistake and I can't figure it out. Have you ever made this mistake before? Absolutely. Here's what you do. Value, right? Like you want mentors who are going to be able to add value to your life and help save you years of mistakes, help save you incur 10 years of mistakes off your life, right? Because they've already made the mistakes before, because they're already where you want to go and they're already where you want to grow. So that's how you discover, like, is this a good mentor? Like, do they've got some age gap on me? Do they have some experiential gap on me? Do they have some financial gap on me? Like, you and your mentor should not be right here. Like, that's not like, those are peers. Those are friends. That's your community. That's your acquaintances, right? Like, there should be a gap between you and your mentors, because they're able to teach you. They should be one to 2 at minimum steps ahead of you of whatever it is that you're trying to learn, so they can go, boom, here's all the things that I did and I wouldn't do again, right? And that's something that we can learn from. And when you really think about it, mentorship is invaluable because of the foundation of mistakes. And it's not that your mentors have gotten to a place of not making them anymore. It's just that they're making new ones, and they're making probably higher risk ones, because they've built up that confidence that I can make mistakes and I can overcome them. I can make mistakes. And you know what this is doing? It's building their confidence, right? So you need confident mentors who are going to be able to pour into you and be like, no, you're good, right? Like they're going to be able to pump into you like, it's okay. I've made this mistake before. Here's how you want to avoid it. Here's how you want to go into it. Boom, boom, boom. But there was confidence built off it. So if you don't make the mistake and then find the solution, you won't be able to gain that experiential knowledge and experiential capital that's going to give you the confidence to avoid it and then teach it to somebody else again, right? But your mentor now is probably at such a different space that they're making different level, high level mistakes that are different. The risk is probably a little bit lower, if that makes sense, but the reward is probably that much bigger because of where they're at, depending on who the mentor is, obviously. But mentorship is invaluable because you can't like experience. There's nothing you can't fake experience. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to be in a space and hear somebody talk about their experience and give you game is an invaluable thing. And it makes me think about what I said on episode 7 or 6 maybe, or maybe before, I'm not sure. Anyways, the thought process is it's one thing to think about and think about the way you want to be. It's another thing to be the thing. So when it comes to mentorship, if you haven't already stepped into this new space, or maybe you're in the space, you want to find a mentor because they're thinking the way, right? They're thinking the way that you want to be, right? So they can give you the mindset, they can give you the habits, they can give you the skills and teach you how to be able to, or they'll just spit the game out and it's up to you to figure out how do you execute that joint, right? I was listening to an interview with P. Diddy and one of his mentors, Ray Dalio, and Ray was talking about his principles of success. And it was so dope, number one, to watch Diddy be in a position of being a follower. And this is, I have the link down in the description. It's so important for you to like, even just watch this for 10 seconds because we're so used to seeing Diddy, you know what I'm saying, be up on stage, doing his thing, wilding out, getting money, right? Which is dope, right? And this time, bruh sitting there with a book open, mouth shut, listening. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is how often are you as a leader putting yourself in positions where you're sitting there, mouth shut, listening. That's what it looks like to lead like a follower. That's what it looks like to be hungry for growth. That's what it looks like to say, I want to be the best I can be. So let me go out into all these other spaces and go find somebody else who's been where I'm trying to go. Because I know that I ain't going to get there just with what I know. Because some of us may have hit a specific ceiling, but the dopest thing about the world is we were created for community and humanity, and that's why it's so important for you to get growth partners around you who will help increase your ceiling. They will increase your gap. Anyways, back to this. So Diddy's sitting there, and Ray's talking about his principles for success. And one of them is radical open-mindedness. Boy, radical open-mindedness. Here's why this was so dope to me. Was because we often are so closed-minded, we stunt our own growth. We are often so closed-minded, we stunt our own growth and prevent ourselves from being able to get the game that we need because we're too afraid to admit that we don't know. We're too afraid to even submit ourselves to somebody else because we don't even like the word submission. But like when you have radical open-mindedness, that is like, that increases your ability to ask the right questions, the wrong questions, stupid questions. Like, but the root of that is humility, y'all. The root of that is self-awareness. So when you can insert radical open-mindedness, that increases your creativity to say, who knows? Who knows what? Who knows what can come from this? And mentorship is in a mentorship relationship, in a coaching relationship, even in therapy, it's a great place to have these dialogues and conversations because it allows you to be able to stretch and grow your creativity and your thought process. So I want to talk about the value of mentors. This week, we saw that Deion Sanders left Jackson State and is headed to Colorado, right? So he left an HBCU, was headed to a PWI, Pac-12, Colorado. But I want to talk about him before he became Coach Prime. And as I was doing some research on Deion and his mentorship and being a mentor and why he got into coaching, he talked about in his life and in his development, he said he had admitted developing the persona that he did left him feeling lonely and suicidal. There's a persona that he developed in becoming prime time, right? Before he became the coach that he is today. And he said through this journey, like it helped him find God, but he said, oh my gosh, he said he wishes he would have found a mentor. And that right there is the reason why I do what I do, is because I remember at an early age, I wish I had a mentor. I wish I had people to pour into me that were consistently there, that like saw me, the whole me, every aspect of me and wanted to pour into me because I was thirsty and hungry for knowledge, but there wasn't really nobody around. And so I feel like there's a lot of cats out there, especially black and brown folks that are out there that are like, man, I wish that I really had somebody who I respected, who poured into me, who could check on me, who could really like help guide me. And to hear Deion say this, right? Like he said on his journey, yeah, it helped him find God, but he said it might have been easier. It might have been easier had I had a mentor who would have help me along this journey a little bit sooner. You know, our quote said he lost $10 million in some time. How many of you were like, psh? And that's what I'm talking about. He said not having a mentor in his life cost him 10 mil. So if it's costing Dion 10 mil, who can probably afford to lose it, right? Like, how much is not having a mentor costing you? That's my question. How much is not having a coach costing you? How much is not having an advisor costing you? How much is not going to therapy costing you? How much is your inability from diving into your trauma and getting the healing costing you? Have you thought about that? What's the cost? You're counting up the cost of how much it costs to have a therapist, how much it costs to have a coach, how much it costs to do all this. But what's the alternative? How much is it costing you in opportunities? How much is it costing you in friendships, in relationships, in healing, in health, in loving, in joy? How much is it really costing you? Because you can look at the tangible cost of how much it has and how much it costs to have all those things, right? You're like, man, it's too expensive. Your purpose ain't worth it? You're telling me that your purpose ain't worth you getting the healing that you deserve? Your generational legacy ain't worth it? You getting the healing? You getting the mindset, the habits, the skills? Come on, man. Like, this podcast ain't enough. And I don't need to be your coach. I may not be right for you. May not be right. But somebody needs to be your coach. Somebody needs to be your advisor. Somebody needs to be your therapist. You need people. You better get you one of these. What is it? A mentor, a coach, an advisor, a therapist, superior. You need to get you one of these, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm about to come up out this flannel. I'm hot because I'm passionate about this. We need people to pour into us to help us grow because we don't know everything. We can't see everything. And that's life. Leadership is invaluable. Mentorship is invaluable. Having a coach and somebody who can teach you is invaluable. Somebody who knows you, who can pour into you and can help stretch you, and iron sharpens iron, just all the above, y'all. And if Deion Sanders can put a number on it, 10 mil, how much is it costing you? I don't even think about that and write it down like, dang. And again, you don't have to be primetime football player because your life matters right where you're at, whatever you're doing. Right? So you equate that down to you. Like, is your inability to get the healing that you need and the connection, the growth, is it causing you growth opportunities at work? Is it causing you relationship with your friends and family? Is it causing you a lack of a better relationship with yourself? Is it inflicting more fear? Is it increasing your anxiety? Only you can answer these questions. What are you, how are you, enabling and preventing yourself from being able to do the things that you really want to do because you're not willing to get the help that you need? Like, you gotta check that, y'all. If you're really about this growth life, you gotta check it. The other part about mentors that's so dope is they give you space to grow, right? Like, authentic, amazing mentors don't expect you to come up and be perfect because then you wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't need mentorship, and they don't expect you to know everything. Also, they're going to fill in a gap. They're going to help you grow, and they're going to give you space to do it. And that's one of the dopest parts about it. That's why you have to center yourself and get around these people. I think about like Sha'Carri Richardson when she ended up smoking weed right before the USA trials or whatever the thing, and she got in trouble. And one of the first things I thought of, and a lot of other people thought of, I know they talked about this on another podcast that I listened to. I think it was the Athletes, I Am Athlete podcast. But like, cats are thinking about like, who was around her? Like, who are the people around you that allowed you? Now, again, she's grown, like we're grown. We make our own decisions. But at the same time, it's like, who are the people are around you that weren't like, that blunt out your hand? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do tomorrow. And this is kind of what Deion is saying. Like, I wouldn't have done so many things had I had somebody in my life that I respected that could hold me accountable. And that's where, and I could say for myself, a lot of the mistakes that I've made is because I didn't have nobody around me to help hold me accountable, to check me, to all those different things. And so when you open yourself up to accountability and iron sharpens iron and allow other people into your intimate life, that is when you're able to grow that much more, because you're saying, boom, I'm here. I want to be honest with you. I want to check in with you. I want to grow with you, hold me accountable, all of that. So I'm not saying Sha'Carri didn't have any of that. I'm just saying more times than not, when cats make mistakes, we often look at not just them, but who is the people that they had around them that allowed them, for lack of better words, again, people make their own decisions, but allow them to make those decisions, right? Or why is it that they didn't feel that they couldn't check in with nobody to be able to help hold them accountable to their values, right? To their personal integrity, to their character in the way that they want it to be. All right, y'all, so when you're looking for a mentor, here's some things that I want you to think about. What value can you also add to the relationship? What value can you also add to their life? Because if you're looking for somebody to be a mentor and you value them and you're like, yo, they could really help me out, then they most likely are busy. I love to say this all the time. Bosses are busy. So if you're trying to reach out to somebody, you have to say, here's what I can bring to the table as well. Here's how I'm going to help you grow. I can add this value to your business. Can I take something off your plate if you're going to spend time with me, right? The other thing is, it's your job to reach out to the mentor, period. Because again, they're busy, they're doing things, and you are responsible for your growth. And so if you want to be able to grow with somebody as a coach, a mentor, an advisor, whatever it is, a therapist, it's your job. You are responsible for your growth. So you got to reach out to them. You got to be consistent. If you slide into somebody's DMs and you say, yo, I would love for you if you could mentor me. Here's how I can add value to your life, then you got to follow up. So it's your job to be responsible for your growth. You got to follow up, and you have to make sure that you're doing the reaching out, and you can't take it personal if they don't hit you up. That just is what it is. Would you like a mentor that reaches back out all the time? I think that'd be dope, but sometimes that's just not the case. And they're often going to say, I need you to be responsible. I need you to hit me up. And then they'll give you the time. And then you need to cherish the time that they give you, because time is precious. And if somebody's going to mentor you, especially for free, then you really got to make sure that you're appreciative and grateful, and then apply whatever it is, the things that matter, the things that make sense, right? That they're teaching you, and actually show some growth. So that way they know, okay, boom, this is what I'm doing is really helping this person out. I was able to find this quote by Michelle Obama, and she's talking about the mentorship that she was doing while Obama was in office. And she talked about this. She said, sometimes young people think that mentoring is just about, just show me the way. Just tell me what to do. She said, I want young people out here to know when they're looking for a mentor, they also have to think about, what are you going to bring to the relationship? Mentoring it goes both ways, y'all. Like, you have to know new age mentoring, because cats is out here working hard to get better, and they're willing to give away their game. But the places that a lot of cats are giving away their game for free is social media, through podcasts like this and every other social media platform. That's the free game. Now, cats is like, if you trying to get more than what I'm already dedicating to this, you got to pay for it. Right? Or you have to take something off my plate. You have to bring something to the relationship. So the days of just mentor me because you want to add value, like those days they're gone, bro. Like just know that. So you got to know, what are the areas that I can add value to this person's life? If you're not ready and you don't know how you can add value to somebody's life just yet, then I would encourage you to do this, even if to find some virtual mentors. One way that I have virtual mentors of people that I can't have access to is I use my IG favorites column, and where you can literally like tag favorite people that are your favorite profiles. And I have all of my virtual mentors favorited. So I know when I go there, I'm getting inspired, I'm getting motivated, I'm getting educated, I'm being held accountable, I'm being challenged to grow. Like, that IG feed for me is nothing but challenge and growth and accountability, because it's all by my virtual mentor. So if you're saying, Coach Rees, I don't really know anybody yet, we'll start there. If you're not ready for a mentorship relationship, you don't know how you can add value, start with your IG feed, or start with the book. Go out and read, a book from somebody. Go out and listen to everybody's podcast and listen to what these people are telling you, right? Whoever it is, if you're like, man, I'd love to be mentored by whoever. There's this program called Masterclass, where they're literally taking people who are the best at what they do and have them sit down and giving you a masterclass. So again, you got to be responsible for your growth. If you're not going to be responsible for your growth, ain't nobody else about to be. You got to ask your question, how much is your growth worth? What are you willing to do? How much are you willing to spend? How much are you willing to invest in order for you to get the growth that your purpose requires, that your potential requires? So if I haven't convinced you yet why you need a mentor, a therapist, an advisor, or a coach, I want you to hear these benefits. Again, when it comes to a therapist and a counselor, it's different than a coach. Your therapist and your counselor is going to help you become aware of your inner child, your inner trauma, and help you get that intrapersonal healing that you need in order to grow in your self-awareness, in order for you to be able to ultimately not just become the person you were born to be, but be able to live a healthy life because you had handled all the muck and mud and dealt with your inner child trauma, right? Like, they're going to give you the tools to help manage what you've become aware of. When it comes to coaches, or let me say this too, the other thing is with therapy, like, people don't go to therapy for life sometimes, right? It's kind of a seasonal thing, as is with mentorship. Mentorship with some folks, it's seasonal. Do know that it'll go in ebbs and flows in the seasons of your life. Some people may start off being your mentor and you may outgrow them, right? Because your growth and trajectory have gone somewhere totally different, which is awesome, right? Like, sometimes it should be that. Like, you might go and your mentor might stop growing. I've seen that happen. It's happened to me. You may go from being mentors to mentee to being peers, right? To vice versa, because life just happens. And the same, with your therapist, you may outgrow your therapist. You may outgrow the tools and things, that they give you. And the same with the coach, right? Like, all of it, none of this stuff should ever be set in stone, nor should it ever stump your growth. So you should always be, having a transformational mindset when it comes to this, but also be forward thinking and assessing, is this relationship still in the right space? Is it still pushing me and challenging me and holding me accountable? Does this relationship need to shift? Am I no longer getting from this person what I originally was getting? And it's not always a bad thing. Maybe the season is just changing. It just is what it is, right? But the things when it comes to being a coach like myself, I'm not a counselor, right? I'm not going to help you heal your inner child and become aware of that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to help, one, put you on game as a mentor and a coach. But two, I'm going to help you apply the game in a different way. I'm going to help you develop the psychological mindset that helps you develop the emotional intelligence, attack that imposter syndrome. What are the psychological tactics and skills that you need in order to not just live out your purpose with confidence, obviously, but teaching you skills, legitimate skills that help you grow as a human. I help train your inner adult how to live out their life confidently, how to grow in their craft, how to be a high performer. Not every coach is like me, right? All coaches are different, but I can just speak from that perspective. But the benefits of being able to be in these kinds of relationships that are not the same as your friends, right? They're not the same as your family. They're not your community and your acquaintances. They are specific type of growth partners that you need around you to help you be your best self. Here are some benefits. They're people that you get to take your fears to. There are few better people than mentors and leadership and coaches to take your fears to and say, here's what I'm afraid of. Here are my thoughts. Here are my feelings. Here's my anxiety. And you can take these fears to these spaces and they are going to provide you with some type of reassurance, some affirmation, some clarity, some peace around whatever the topic is. There are also people who are going to challenge your philosophy. That's one of the things that I value the most about having these growth partners is, here's what I'm thinking, here's my philosophy. Does that make sense? Does it sound stupid? Where's it coming from? Is it okay? Cool. If you don't have those, if you're just having intrapersonal conversations all day, you don't really know what's what. You have to be able to get out of yourself and have these conversations with other people who are like-minded, who can also say, or yeah. And then when they say something dope, then you're like, I didn't even think about that, right? So they challenge your philosophy, and challenge isn't always a bad thing. It can also be a good thing. They also hold you accountable for growth. That's an amazing thing. These people hold you accountable to growth. They pour into you and they broaden your social capital. Okay? This is why it's so important for you to get next to these people, because they do all of these things for you.